Welcome to Thursday, May 15th, 2025. Your Day Weather Podcast brought to you by Converse County Tourism.com. Feel the energy of Converse County. Explore Douglas's railroad heritage, Ayers Natural Bridge, and the Jackalope legend. Glen Rock boasts scenic trails, dinosaur history, and small town charm. Plan your visit at ConverseCountyTourism.com. Well, it's going to remain unsettled through early next week. The system that came through yesterday was quite productive in some areas. In terms of some rainfall, we'll show you that here in a minute. We'll still feel the effects of the system with a few scattered showers and thunderstorms around today. There's kind of a gap in between systems, so we really don't expect a lot happening on Friday. Saturday and Sunday will be milder. There will be a pickup of afternoon shower and thunderstorm activity on Saturday and especially Sunday. Then as we get into next week, that next Pacific storm slides in from the Pacific Northwest. It is going to be a good rain producer. Question is where, as we'll show you in a minute and as we showed you yesterday. There's low confidence in the exact placement of the rain because of the track of the system and where it's going to go. It's not a large system, it's a small one. So any deviation in its track will shift the better rain. But some of you watching this podcast in some parts of the region from Sunday into Monday and Tuesday, we'll see another shot of really nice spring moisture. Just depends on where it all tracks. Beautiful shot there of Mount Tom in California with still some snow and some fresh snow here recently and the greening on the valley there. And then ahead of that system yesterday, in some areas we did see a little bit of wave cloud action developing yesterday out ahead of it. And as you can see in this shot here near Upton, Wyoming, of the layering of the clouds, you can see the cumulus there in the lower layers, then the mid layers, then the higher layers, all associated with that upper level low that brought some really good rain to the Dakotas over the last 48 hours. And a little bit closer to the low, up there just north of Douglas near Bill, you can see that low level moisture and that low level moisture really coming together to produce some shower and thunderstorm activity from Hart Mountain over to Pinedale. Look at those mean clouds there in the upper Green River Basin. Dave Bell reported off and on snow showers and snow squalls throughout the day, as you can see there with Mount Bonneville in the background. Shower and thunderstorm activity then spread into portions of southeastern Wyoming and western Nebraska. And boy, some of you got lucky, very lucky, in terms of where the rain fell out there in parts of eastern Laramie County. And you can see, we talk about updrafts. You can see a strong updraft right there, and the picture before it also showing some strong updrafts of the shower and thunderstorm activity that developed late yesterday afternoon and evening. And then back further west, you can see from the Pacific Northwest the moisture that's been coming in and streaming in, and there's the next one coming here this weekend. So here's a radar image of the radar estimating the rainfall from yesterday afternoon and evening. And the reason I'm showing this is for the donut hole, the drought hole in southeastern Wyoming and western Nebraska. This has been filtered for 0.3 of an inch of rain. Couple of things to highlight, of course, for you Cheyenne folks. You can see that right there's the Cheyenne drought hole showing up once again, although it's a lot smaller than the last one. When we take a look at the amounts of precipitation, some folks hit the lottery yesterday. And this is really, really going to help. You can see this patch of green in parts of the panhandle of Nebraska right here. Just some nice, just downpours of moderate to heavy rain. And same out here in eastern Laramie County, just east and south of Cheyenne into Weld County, Colorado. These two areas doing very well. Well, how well? Look at that. Scottsbluff Airport, 1.32 inches of rain. I'd have to go back and look, but for a 24-hour period, that's the most rain that's fallen in Scottsbluff in a long time. And you can see the rain was very heavy right along the North Platte Valley there in a lot of the key agricultural areas. But just up the road, Torrington, a whopping 1/100th of an inch. We talked about a game of inches. What do we have? Very short distance between those two towns. This is how rain falls in the western high plains. Not evenly. And then when we look out in eastern Laramie County, we had reports of 1/2 to an inch. We'll look at the Coco Ross sites later this morning and look at the rainfall totals, but that's a lottery winner right there. And then in the hole, the drought hole, only just a little bit more than 1/10 of an inch. When we take a look at the surface map, we see the low that came through yesterday is now along this boundary here, center of it, northeastern Nebraska. And we're going to have showers and thunderstorms along this boundary again today. More rain for the Dakotas and the upper Midwest, bringing it into their hot spell. Cold, wet weather up there. So you can see the low centering now into western Minnesota and the Dakotas. Wrap around moisture and instability. The counterclockwise spin around this low will produce some showers, clouds, and cooler weather on the backside of the system. And here's your system up in the Gulf of Alaska queued up for late in the weekend. So along and north of this low, it's going to be very, very wet up here today. And then by Saturday morning, that low heads into the upper Great Lakes. We kind of go into a westerly flow here that'll give us seasonal temperatures, but enough instability and daytime heating for some scattered showers and thunderstorms. Then it's all about this guy as we get late into the weekend, into early next week, on where it goes and kind of how it's put together, because the models are having a really difficult time with it. When we take a look at the next 48 hours, look at the rain in the Dakotas. Wow. Up into Saskatchewan and Manitoba there. The Sandhills areas of north central Nebraska will still have some good chances of rain. Here's the scattered showers and thunderstorms and the cool, moist air on the backside of the system that'll be happening mainly today. Showers and thunderstorms, weak, but nonetheless shower and thunderstorm activity here on the backside this afternoon. Then the weekend. This is by Sunday morning. The low begins to slide in, but this low is stretched, and there's really two parts of this low. This area right here, which is a real big factor, and the other part of the upper level low here. So it's not coming in cohesive. So it's not all put together. It's a bit disorganized, hence the reason why the models are having a hard time. So this is by Sunday morning. So we're going to see during the day Sunday, moisture and energy and instability forming out ahead of this low as it sinks towards the Great Basin. By Sunday night, this area right here pivots and then comes up to here. Now this is all about timing. When it pivots, this area right here is actually going to be the big rainmaker, not this. This is the rainmaker right here because it arrives during the warmer part of the day Sunday, causing a lot of instability. There's going to be lifting with this system and a good amount of moisture, so it's going to trigger an area of showers and thunderstorms. So where this area of instability comes and when it arrives, this is by midnight Sunday night. Now keep in mind that along the axis that I'm drawing right here, you're going to have your best lift along and north of this line. So the European model looks like this. The AI version is more north. The Canadian is more south. The GFS is actually kind of like the European and the AI version of the European. But there's enough differences here. The placement of the rain is all going to depend on where that lobe of energy right here swings through and at the time of day it does it. And there's enough differences here between these that we just have to wait till tomorrow before we start to show you any type of what precipitation amounts may fall. But there's a really good opportunity for the Dakotas again and this area right here to see another significant rain event Sunday through Monday and into Tuesday, and even back up into here. But it all depends on whether or not the south end of the system is down there or up here, because it could be as far north as the Pine Ridge north, or it could be as far south as the Cheyenne Ridge, Colorado border area and points north. Hopefully we'll have more detail for you tomorrow. A sneak peek into late next week and Memorial Day weekend. Well, it looks like a warm-up. High pressure starts to build back in, and temperatures will be moderating just in time for the 3-day weekend. Doesn't necessarily mean dry, because there will probably be some thunderstorms in the mix, but a nice warm-up for Memorial Day weekend as it looks at the moment. We'll have more on that tomorrow. Speaking of tomorrow, we'll see you then.